Hello, everyone, and welcome to the JustNabz podcast with me, Nabil, and
Nabila, hi.
welcome back. Welcome back. How was your week?
It was good. And yours?
Quite fine, thank you. I've had a little bit of a disappointment on Sunday due to the race. Didn't go quite as I hoped, but
Our
it's completely
predictions were
fine.
so off.
No, they weren't. I mean, we got pole.
We got pole.
Yeah, I think we didn't even get fastest lap because Bottas got
Bottas
fastest
got
lap.
it. I know, and we were like, oh no, we don't have expectations for him.
Yeah, of course, he's so useless. They literally pitted him to, come back with softer tyres and go for a fastest lap. Yeah, and Lewis got the win. Whether he deserved it or not, we shall not argue on
He
that.
did deserve. I was just like, yes. Do you know if we had one more lap, Max would have won? So we can
No.
thank Perez for that.
No, I don't think Max would have won, to be fair.
With one more lap. Yeah, because he
No.
was gaining time on him.
Yeah, he was, and when he overtook Lewis and had to give the position back, he stayed behind Lewis, and his tyres were so off because during the last lap, he's been skiing everywhere. So I don't think he would have caught Lewis. I think Max made a mistake when he let Lewis pass in the back straight. Should have waited for the
I
other
didn't pay
straight.
attention to that. My face was in the cushion. I was like, oh my god, I can't watch this. Please, Lewis, just win.
That's complete. I know. That's fine. Yeah, but yeah, let's not argue on that. Think
I was happy though.
Yeah. Okay. Congrats. I should say congrats. I'm happy for you. So, what do we have on for this week?
So, this week we wanted to talk about jobs and job hunting because that is something that I have been struggling with for the past, when did I graduate? While ago. I'm not gonna give away my age.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that I've had success in, but also a lot of failure.
Yeah. I think this is quite a common sentiment if you ask people who've been job hunting for a while. But yeah, I think so. What I wanted to see is whether it depends on the place you're in. So we all know that, especially in the Western world as well, you tend to face some kind of discrimination sometime, and some might believe that there's no discrimination when you come to countries like African countries, because the common question is, and I've been getting this, why? Who would you discriminate? So what I wanted to ask you first is, since I don't have too much experience as far as job hunting is concerned, have you ever faced any discrimination in job hunting?
Okay, so I'm the guest today. Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the interview of Nabila.
Thanks. I love being here.
You're welcome.
Okay, so yes, I have obviously faced discrimination for being a woman and for being a woman of color. I've actually had in an interview someone tell me that they just they've hired me. I mean, they've interviewed me just so that they can say that they've interviewed to meet their BEE quota. So BEE is Black Economic Empowerment. So Indians fall under that in some cases, I think. Yeah. So Indians do. So literally this guy told me, oh no, we just need to meet our BEE quota for interviews. And I was just like, I didn't say anything at the time because like when I started, off in the industry and looking for jobs, I was very quiet and naive, and I just kept my head down and didn't want to tramp on people's toes. But if he said that to me now, I would lash out. Not lash, but I would say something definitely. Yeah, so it's job hunting for those of you who are looking for jobs or who have been looking for jobs. It's very disheartening, and you have to have a really thick skin because it gets you so down, and it starts getting you questioning your abilities, your skills, who you are as a person. And you just have to keep your wits about you. It's not you. You don't tick all the boxes that the company is looking for. That's something I've had to learn, because I would be like, oh my gosh, am I dumb, am I this, am I that? But then you start realizing it's not you, it's them, as cliche as that sounds. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can't say I faced discrimination. So the only experience I have in job hunting is when I was giving tutoring sessions to some kids, and one other time I was actively looking for a part-time job while I was studying, and I don't think I faced any kind of discrimination, even though I'm part of a minority here, since my name is not Italian, it's
Yeah.
Arabic.
I
Yeah.
was gonna ask, like, do you get questioned because of your name, or do you think you don't get
Uh,
interviewed because of your name?
uh, I I have to be honest. I know people who've had similar experiences, but I haven't. So I can't say I have faced any kind of discrimination based on my name in my very, 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 very little experience in job hunting. But then again, it's very little, so I don't think I'm a standard. I don't think I'm a benchmark
Uh,
for discrimination here in Italy. Although I shall say I know people who have faced discrimination, especially women and women of color, and both when job hunting and in the workplace later on.
yeah. So with that, I usually follow up with the jobs that I applied for, like on LinkedIn or whatever, to see who got the job over me. And on more than one occasion, it's been a white person. And one job that I actually applied for, they told me I didn't have enough experience. And when I checked who got the job afterwards, it was graduate, fresh out of college, white girl. I'm like, what experience does she have that I didn't have? I've been working in this industry for 5 years, and you're saying I don't have experience. So I think a lot of it is also, especially here in South Africa, it's who you know.
Hmm.
So I mean,
That is,
I've
yeah.
gotten jobs because of people I know, but also I've proved myself. So I think in the not our last episode where we diverted to F1, the episode before, where I said that, someone told me about an internship, but yeah. Um I mean, people have just told me about jobs, but no one's like just made the way for me. They've told me about it, and they can vouch for my skills. Um, but
Uh,
yeah, it's like some people just get a job because of their connections. Like, I understand, okay, you can get a job with your connections, but also have the skills to back it up. In a lot of cases, it's getting through connections and you don't have the skills to back it up. That's what irritates me. Yeah, so it's very disheartening, but once you get the right job and you get your foot in the door, it is very rewarding. It can be very rewarding. Yeah, so I've been passionate about social media and digital for a while. And when I first started looking for jobs, I was like, okay, let's see. I'm going to apply for digital roles. Let's see what I can get. Obviously, I was rejected because they told me I didn't have enough experience. I was like, okay, but I have the skills. Like, I'm willing to learn. I'm so ready. Like, if you give me a chance, I will not disappoint because I'm like a super fast learner. no, we need someone with experience because we can't take a chance on anyone who doesn't have experience. So I was like, okay, cool. This is just because I'm fresh out of college. I let it pass. And then I didn't give up on that. So I started looking in other fields where I had the skills for it. So I ended up in media, and then the whole digital thing was kind of put on hold. And then working a few years in media, I decided, okay, let's try digital again. And I went for this one interview, and this guy was like, we want you, but you in 5 years. And I was like, what is that supposed to mean? Me in 5 years, you can have me now. He says, no, you just don't have the experience. And that's what pisses me off about a lot of companies. Is like on their job description sheet, they'll be like, must have 5 to 10 years experience, must have 5 years experience as a manager or in a management position. I was like, bruh, do you know managers stay in their positions? Have you seen a manager's salary? They're not going to leave their companies. And even if they do, they're going to be older. Like, are you looking for young fresh minds? And it's just a mess. It's a mess when people they don't know what they're looking for. So I say, you know what? I got to a point where I'm like, I don't care if I meet all these requirements. There are people with less qualifications, less skills than me that are applying and getting these jobs. So I'm going to do the same. I don't care if I don't have the skills or the experience. I'm just going to apply anyway. You have nothing to lose. So yeah, if anyone's listening and you are too scared to apply for a job because you don't meet all the requirements, just do it anyway. And just, you need to be confident in interviews. That's a big thing. I think you need to oversell yourself, which is something I never did at the beginning, because I was just like, I was too humble about it. I didn't want to show off, in inverted commas, but you have to sell yourself. Your own brand, your own salesperson. It doesn't matter if it sounds like boasting, because I think those are the people that are getting the jobs over you. And it's not down to what your skills, it's how you sell yourself.
Well, I agree. I do agree. And it also comes from the thing we've been saying all along. You have to love yourself before someone else can love you. So
Yeah.
it's, it's knowing your worth and knowing your capabilities and
Yeah,
not
exactly.
showing them off, but, being able to show them.
But also in the same token, like, companies need to understand experience is not everything. People are willing to learn, and just as much as you give opportunities to non people of color, you need to take a chance on people of color as well. Like, especially here in South Africa, in the industry I was in, it's so white dominated. And I say this now because I'm out of the industry, and I don't care, because it needs to be talked about. So in the media industry, people just rotate. They, someone at an ad agency, and the next minute at another ad agency. So people just get recycled in the industry. They're always popping up, and it's the same people you see all the time. White faces everywhere. Any media industry event you go to, it's so white dominated. And it's just like, come on, man. The mass in South Africa are black. You are advertising to black people. These are the people you want to appeal to. So why are you not speaking their language or hiring someone who knows the people of the country? Anyway, so I'm out of that, and I was just like, I went to a convention actually, and this I was telling this lady, I really want to be in digital, and she told me, she's like, you know what, if people are not giving you the experience you want, if you can't get the experience, why don't you create your own experience? Go off on your own and start it. So at the time, I wasn't living at home and I had bills to pay. So everything you do is for survival. You're basically in survival mode when you're living on your own. And I was like, I can't just leave my job, because how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay my bills? So I left it. And then COVID happened and I moved back home. And I was like, you know what? If I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. And I was like, this woman, her words like really stuck with me. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And I said, you know what? This job search thing, goodbye, that life. And I was like, I'm starting my own business. I'm going to create my own experience. I'm going to trial. I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to get it right. I'm going to do it for me. And when I hire people, I'm going to hire failure.
Yes, that's an honorable concept. Yeah, and I mean, best of luck, of course, for your future endeavors. But um, I think as far as experience is concerned, I can see why companies are more reluctant giving up experience for a fresh start. I think the best way that can, I mean, it depends on the industry, of course, but many times, and media as well, with experience come contacts and people and which can play a role in a whole company, in the whole functioning of a company. But then again, you will need at some point to a fresh start with someone young. So I do think that the best way to do it is to have people who don't have experience put besides someone who does have experience. That is the best way that a company can grow and can keep innovating itself.
Yeah. I also think that, the whole thing about diversity hires, like, okay, hire the people with the best skills. I get that. Don't just
I don't,
hire a
I
person
don't
because
get
of the.
that. I don't get that. I don't get the whole concept of just hire the person just because they apparently have higher skills. I think.
Yeah, so no, so where I'm going with this is, so I understand, like, I know people are going to argue with me and say, but do you want a person of color in there, but what if they don't have the skills? What I'm saying is, I understand that you need the person with the best skills, but also um, you need you can't, like, okay, so you say a person of color don't push people of color aside because you assume they don't have skills. That's what happens a lot, is people get pushed aside because of the color of their skin, and no other reason.
do
I
you, so
understand. Yeah.
do you agree with these, like the BE quota, this whole quotas thing? Do you agree with them? Are you?
I'm for it, but also I'm just like, okay, if you're gonna hire a person of color, there are people of color with skills that you can hire. Or if someone shows potential and they're a quick learner and they're willing to learn and they have that drive and that passion to succeed, take them on. If they can show you that they're willing to learn and they can learn and they have the potential, take them on. But I don't believe in hiring just for the skin color and then that person offers your company nothing. So it's a two-way thing. So if I am going to apply for to say a role in as a copywriter, and you so I'm my skills as I'm not a qualified copywriter, but I can write. It's not a passion, like, oh, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And like, don't hire me over another person of color who is really passionate about copywriting. And I'm just using it as an example. I do love writing. um but don't choose me over someone who could have, they have the skills for it and the passion, and they really want to do it. I'm not gonna stand in their way. So it's a very, yeah, walking on eggshells thing. I know, like, there's a lot of contradiction in things that I've said, but yeah, that's just
Um,
my experience.
yeah, no, my question came because we also have some quotas, especially for women. My question is, which is a genuine question,
Mm.
is with these quotas, like you have the black quota, do you feel like you might be getting the job just because of your skin and not because you've been called there to review your skills? So that's what I'm thinking.
Oh,
And
so personally, I've never felt that I've been hired because of the color of my skin, um, but genuinely because of what I can offer a company. But I can't speak for everyone, or every industry. Like, when I speak, it's when tell you things, it's just pertinent to the industry I worked in, which is media. I can't speak for every industry, and I'm not speaking for every industry. Yeah, so I personally, I have not been felt like a diversity hire. I think I've fairly gotten jobs, because I mean, when I've left, my managers have always given me good. They've always had good things to say. I've got good references. I mean, my and my last, not my last, my like 2 managers ago, like, she was devastated when I told her I was leaving. Like, she wanted to cry. Shame, I felt so bad, but it's just times when you just need to move on, to better opportunities or new experiences.
you know, I've personally always been against this quota. So here in Italy, we have the so-called pink quotas, which means that you need to have a specific number of women in your company. Now, I do not believe that a woman should be hired just because she is a woman and I need to fill that quota. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair to the women. I don't think that's necessarily going to bring women with skills to the job. I don't think it's quite the solution. What I think is, in today's market, in today's job market, there are countless women which have better skills than men, which means that a company that decides to run with men and men only is going to suffer this decision, and the market is going to speak volumes for itself. So I've never, I do not think that quotas are the right choice, and I think I don't know. I think when a woman. So I'm putting myself in the shoes of a woman. If I've been studying my whole life and I have the skills and I'm very good at what I'm doing, but I get hired just because I'm a woman, doesn't that doesn't that feel like bittersweet? Yes, I got the job, but not for my skills, but because
Yeah, I get
they
I
need to
get what
fill a
you mean.
quota.
Um, I feel like if there wasn't a quota BEE in our country, the ad agency wouldn't even hire a single person of color. They would literally overlook everyone. They wouldn't even bother interviewing us. That's how racist I feel this industry is. And if that quota wasn't in place, they would have a ball. They would only hire white people. So I think in a way it is good, because it makes them consider actually bringing in a person of color to interview. And then even if they thought, they're like, okay, no, this person of color is not going to know anything, and you walk in there with that confidence and you really sell yourself, they're like, okay, wait, we actually, we can we could consider her or him. um so I think in a way it's good, but in a way it's just, I don't think it's the quota that's the problem. It's the people who are doing the hiring,
Yeah, of course.
the
I
top
do agree.
management,
Hmm.
that's an issue. You need to be, like, use your brain when you're hiring. Just if a person is shit, don't hire them just because of their color. If they're good, hire them, but also consider all colors of people. Just, like, it's logic.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, I don't know. I can see the problem. I can see the problem, which is women and black people not being hired, and that is an issue. And that is an issue in the Western world, in the Eastern world, everywhere,
Yeah, everywhere.
literally everywhere. I just do not think. I don't know. I just, maybe quotas might be a solution for the short term, but I think we should aim at getting rid of quotas and have some other system which can bring women and black people to the jobs. Not
So
because they're women or black people.
yeah. So for me, I've been I've been advocating for this for a while. Like, ever since, I got into the working world. It needs to start at grassroots level, where women and black people need to be empowered at a young age. They need to be made to feel like they can do things that they want to do, and anything is achievable. Okay, woman, okay, you want to be a scientist, good, let's create programs for women in science. Let's create programs for people of color in mathematics. You need to hone the skills for people at a young age. And I think that's where it's failing. You can't just neglect kids and then suddenly they grow up and they, like, have no skills or no passion for anything, and then you're hiring them based on their color or their gender. I think skills need to be honed at a grassroots level. And yeah, and that's where everything begins. And early childhood development. I um i remember, so with my last company, we used to have this 16 days for youth where we'd go around the Western Cape to different, like, preschools and creches and kindergartens and schools, and you'd see the conditions of these schools. I promise you, the one year we went to a little preschool, this woman had in her house, and it was a shed, like a Wendy house, a little wooden Wendy house. And the conditions in there was like cement floors and not proper electric wiring, and the grounds were a dump, and it was so awful. I actually cried when I got home. I was just like, how are kids growing up in these conditions? How are they getting any skills at such a young age? Their minds are not being stimulated, and then they grow up, and then you suddenly expect them to know things and have certain skills, and you want them in jobs, but the basic, your early childhood development wasn't so good. So yeah, for me it starts there. That's where it starts. 2-year olds in preschools, you need to give them good conditions to learn and stimulate their minds, build skills from a young age.
Yeah, I do agree. I absolutely agree. And it's, I mean, it's fair to say that the current job market in general is too much polarized. I so I'm speaking on behalf of Italy. We like the vast majority of teachers I've had were women.
Mm,
The vast majority of nurses are women.
yes.
Um, but at the same time, the vast majorities of CEOs are men. The vast majority of companies who end up having the board of directors with men and then maybe women as employees, as regular employees. And I'm not saying that one job is less valuable than another. I'm just saying that I can see that sometimes that in the positions of power, you can find men, and then you can find women in the, I don't want to call them lower positions, but you get the idea. Um, so yeah, I do think there's this profoundly. I mean, I think uh, all in all, the only sector where you can have, at least here in Italy, a balanced quota between men and women are doctors.
Yes.
Um,
I
yes,
was gonna say the same thing.
that's and that's because is you don't. I mean, there's not someone hiring you there, so you just study. At least here in Italy, you just study medicine, and then you go and start you know practicing, and then you become a doctor. And based on how well you do, you become a doctor. There's not someone choosing you. So you can see that when there's no one actively choosing you, there's um a
Fairer
balance
chance.
between exactly.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying. Which means that as far as skills are concerned, this is the greatest example of the fact we do not, and there are no quotas in hospitals, for instance. That's why I say that the best scenario, the scenario we should aim for, is no quotas, but a fair chance for everyone, regardless of your skin color, of your gender, or your
Yeah.
sex, or whatever.
And also, so I don't know about Italy, but here in South Africa and especially in the Indian community, it's like being a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant is such a status thing.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of parents, like, they home their kids to be doctors, lawyers, accountants. These are the fields you need to go into. So we have a lot of we there's no issue with having Indian doctors and whatever in this country, because that's what everyone aspires to be. But I mean, some people take creative kids and they discourage them from the arts. And I think it's so important to just let your children be creative, let them explore the arts. There's nothing wrong with the arts. The media, if you look at the media, they control the narratives that are being told.
Mm-hmm.
They control more than what you think. And it's not just some la-di-da industry where it's like all fun and games. It's a complex industry, and we need more diverse voices in it. As well, I'm speaking South Africa specifically. I think actually internationally as well, like globally, we need more diverse voices in the media industry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's true.
and
That's true. But I don't know. I think media in general is a rotten world.
it is.
Yes, and from every single point of view, um, you know, I don't know even where to begin with the whole problems around media. And I don't think
The
there's
first
even,
problem is what I touched on. It's this whole hiring
yeah.
process. That's the first issue. And I think it's in South Africa especially, it's been so white controlled for so many years. They just don't want to let go. They don't want to let go of the industry. And that's one thing I've noticed. Like, it's very hard for the people up there to let go of their positions in the industry
Hmm.
and
No, I can
actually make way for younger people. I've seen people beyond retirement age still working in the media industry. And I'm just like, come on now, move aside, just step aside and let it go. There needs to be a shift
And
in,
you have to admit that a person, even though they might be the most experienced person in the market, you have to admit that time flies, and with time flying, things change. There are new things coming on,
hmm,
especially in the media and digital industry. So
yeah.
you have to admit.
Like if you want to pass on your skills, become a mentor. Take a younger person under your wing,
Mhm.
train them, teach them things, pass on your knowledge, pass on your skills, and they can do with that what they want, change it. And another thing I wanted to say was, it slipped my mind. There was something that was playing in my mind now. I'll come back to
And
it.
yeah, it will. Um, but yeah, and uh, so is any other suggestion you would give to people uh, actively looking for a job, especially the thing which I agree with, which is trying to say yourself?
Oh, yes, that's what I wanted to say before you go into that. So,
Oh,
it's back to the early childhood development thing. I remember one of my colleagues, one of my companies, telling me, he was explaining to me the whole concept of German football and how they started conditioning players from a young age, and they brought them into the system at a very young age and taught them football. And then, okay, World Cups passed, they didn't win until eventually those kids that they took at a young age were part of the team again. And, they eventually did manage to win a World Cup. But it's a slow process. And I think just slapping on diversity to the problem. So we've come to a point where we've identified there is a problem. Okay, there's not enough diversity. Cool. What are we doing about it? Oh, let's just hire whatever's available right now to us. Like, okay, we'll just slap a band-aid onto this problem. But it's a slow process. We need to actually look at it in the long term. What are we doing to condition the youth? So where's our
mhm.
industry going to be in 10 years? In 10 years time, the kids today, or 20 years time, the kids of today are going to start entering the working world. What are we doing for them now to prepare them to take over our industry? So we need to think long term. What are we doing for kids? That's firmly where I stand on that's my stance. It starts with early childhood development. Okay, that's
And
what I wanted to say.
kids, no, 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 really, I do agree. And if you take social media, for instance, kids nowadays are better than my and your generations in so many things as far as social media is concerned. They were born in this world with
Yeah,
social media.
exactly.
So, for instance, I could not even think of where to begin with TikTok. While a kid, I've always
They've
been, I
got the
hate that. So,
algorithm pinned
yeah,
down.
I hate that social network, but I can see the capabilities, the skills of rapid video editing and knowing the algorithm and adapting to an algorithm. It's something. So we started building our algorithms that could adapt to people. Now even people are starting to adapt to algorithms, and I cannot adapt to the TikTok algorithm. So it's something beyond me. And thinking of people of my generation who are still struggling to find a job, while this new generation is coming up with some other skills that are potentially going to mine the job hunting experience.
Yeah.
I think it's critical, and I mean, we are not in a position of rapidly changing anything, but I think this is something that should be spoken um, about a little bit more. And the situation is critical for our generation because we are in the middle. We are the generation that has been living the economic crisis since the beginning. We are the most unlucky generation I could think
Yeah.
of since World War II or colonization. Literally, if you think
Uh,
of it, we had going back, we had COVID, we have the economic crisis, we have wars in the Middle East and in Africa.
mm.
We have had everything. So it's critical that
I
solutions
think we've
are,
lived through two recessions already as well.
yeah,
Do you
indeed,
remember the first recession?
2008.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were just getting up on our feet, and then um a COVID came, the second recession, and
Yep.
we are the ones who are going to pay for this because, of course, countries are counting on high amounts of debt, and who do you think is going to pay for that debt? We are. Our generation is.
God, I
We are
hope
not.
all this is worth it. My children better be cash cows. I
Yeah.
am milking them. You
No,
are becoming an athlete. I
and
don't care.
and
You do
rightly
something.
so. And rightly so, because we are not in the USA, so we are not waking up tomorrow and going to war in the Middle East to make money to pay that debt. We are not the USA, so we are not going. So we are going to be affected, um, with that debt that's coming from these two recessions in a row. So I think, at the end of it, I think solutions need to be found, and I think companies, I've seen this even in big companies. This whole movement which is called stakeholder capitalism, which means a capitalism system which focuses instead on the pros for shareholders. It thinks of stakeholders, which means the community, the people that are employed, the economy, the pollution, and all these things. So I think one standpoint for stakeholder capitalism should be, um, reviewing the hiring process and trying to push diversity and skills and diversity not just in sex, gender, or skin, but even in age. So there's two,
Yeah.
you know, the generational gap is getting bigger and bigger, wider and wider. And I think we should try and focus on shortening it.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, my advice would be if you are entering the working world or looking for a job, if you've been, just stay true to yourself. Don't ever sell out your values. Be confident about your skills. Sell yourself. It is not boasting. Show off what you can offer a company and just be authentic. Just be you. That's what I would stick to.
I completely agree.
And
I
don't let it
completely agree.
dishearten you. Lose don't ever lose faith in yourself. Don't doubt
Self
yourself.
confidence. Hmm.
And if you get rejected, this it's one door closes, few more open up. Even if you have to build a door yourself,
Absolutely.
it's something better is out there for you.
Absolutely. So, since we've been talking of our experiences, you in South Africa and me in Italy, we do know that we have many listeners from around the world, and it would be so interesting to get your experiences, from other parts of the world, be it the US, the UK, or I don't remember the other countries, but any country you're from, give us your experiences because I think there are some things we've been talking about which are constantly seen, regardless of the country you're in. And so that would be very, very interesting. So reach out to us, if you'd like to share your experience.
Yeah, and
Now,
if you disagree, I love how some people as soon as they listen to the episode, they quickly message me and they're like, actually, I don't agree with you on this. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm listening. I am open to disagreement.
If you, yeah, absolutely. If
I
you
know
disagree,
everyone
piss
doesn't
off.
agree. I know we don't agree on a lot. We don't agree on a lot of things either.
Yeah, indeed.
But that's what makes life interesting. And also, I don't mean to be that person who's a Debbie Downer and complains about everything, but what I've just said today is lived experiences. I'm not just sucking it out my thumb to be a complainer. But I've learned from it and I'm moving on. I am being positive about it. And I think the future looks
Yeah,
bright.
absolutely.
There's going to be a shift. There's definitely going to be a shift in the future.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And especially if you do not agree on the things I've said about the quotas, please reach out because I've been trying and trying to get a proper conversation about quotas. And yes, I would like to hear from you, literally and genuinely. So, coming to the best segment of the week, Song of the Week.
What's your song of the week?
Right, my Song of the Week is Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now by Starship. It's a 1987 song.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
We know how you love going back in time with your music. Not that there's anything wrong, but
No, it's proper taste.
okay, so I'm also actually gonna go back in time
Hola.
to high school.
Oh.
And because she's re-releasing all her old music, Taylor Swift Love Story. The song, I was so happy when she re-released it. Like I felt like I was listening to new music, but old music at the same time. It was like a warm feeling of being a teenager again and listening to that song for the first time. Oh, I loved it. And yeah, it's been on repeat for a while now. So Taylor Swift Love Story. I can't wait to hear all her other releases.
Oh wow. Good. I like it. Not bad. So.
And we are under 1 hour.
Yes.
We're gonna try and keep our episodes a bit shorter.
Yes, we promise so. So I would like to wish you a great end of the week. And with you, I mean you all, but especially you, Nabil, of course. And
if you're a new listener, also welcome and thank you for joining us. I know there are some people that just started listening. We love our community growing, and if you want to keep in touch with us, stay up to date, make suggestions, argue, you'll find us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, JustNabz Podcast.
Yep, absolutely. So have a great end of the week and a great week, and we will catch with you in 1 week time. Bye.
Bye.